As John mentioned, former President Donald Trump campaigned at the U.S. southern border in Arizona today. It's his third visit to the border during the election cycle, but his first time doing so from Arizona, of course, a key battleground state. During his visit, he criticized his opponent, Kamala Harris, pinning the Biden administration's border policies on her.
For nearly 4 years, as border czar, Comrade Kamala has overseen a nation-wrecking border invasion.
CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is traveling with the former president in Montezuma Pass, Arizona. Caitlin, we heard a little bit from Trump attacking Harris. What else did he say today?
Hey, good to see you, Lindsay. Well, this was an explicit move by the Trump campaign to try to pin border policy to his opponent, Kamala Harris. He came down to the border today, as you mentioned, and he was flanked by Border Patrol officials and also family members of people who had been killed by undocumented immigrants. And this is all to make a point that border security is a top issue in his campaign. His campaign says the economy and the border will be the defining issues of this campaign. And when you look at our polling, for those voters who say that those are their top issues, they are supporting Donald Trump. And you look at our polling, and the vast majority of Republicans say that this is a top issue for them. So he essentially is trying to attach all of the issues with the border crisis to Kamala Harris, calling her the border czar. Now, Kamala Harris was tasked by President Biden to oversee the root causes of immigration in Central America. She was not specifically tasked with addressing the border crisis. And so, however, this has become an issue for the Trump campaign to capitalize on, and they're trying to kind of seize the spotlight as Kamala Harris prepares to deliver her address, accepting the Democratic Party nomination tonight.
Trump was pressed by reporters on that bipartisan Senate immigration bill earlier this year. He urged many of his colleagues on the Hill to not support it. What did he say about that today?
That's right. He essentially said that he didn't like this bill and he wanted Biden to just shut down the border unilaterally. But remember, Lindsay, this was a bipartisan bill. Senator Lankford of Oklahoma was a key figure in this, a top conservative Republican. And Democrats had said that this was some of the most conservative border policy that they had seen. But Trump had urged Republicans to not support it. And a lot of criticism was aimed at Trump for wanting to kill a border deal in an election year to sort of make this an issue. That was the accusation. But today he said that he didn't like the bill. It's important to note, though, Lindsay, that back in June, President Biden did issue an executive order that essentially cracked down on asylum claims. That earned him the ire of some progressive Democrats, but he did take executive action there. And we should also note, Lindsay, that border crossings have been significantly down, and that's due in part to that executive order, due in part to the Mexican government taking action. And as I'm standing here in these really hot temperatures, that also has led to the decrease in border crossings.
How is Trump planning to counter Harris's big moment tonight?
Well, he told us today that he is going to issue statements on his social media platform, Truth Social. So I suppose we should look for reaction there. But as she is preparing to accept her party's nomination, former President Trump is talking a lot still about President Biden. He essentially has been calling Kamala Harris taking the nomination as a coup, which is not true. It's perfectly under the prerogative of the Democrats to do so. And of course, Biden is still the president. But you can tell, Lindsay, that this campaign had been oriented around opposing President Biden, that was their opponent for this campaign. Spent a lot of money doing that. And you can tell that the former president is still aggrieved that Biden is not his opponent, because the polls are tightening, especially in those key battleground states like here in Arizona.
Caitlin Huey-Burns in Montezuma Pass, where it looks much cooler than it is with that breeze. I know all too well from my summers in my home state. It's like a hair dryer on your face. All right,
Exactly.
Stay cool.